G'day everyone, it's Justin and
Scott.
two dads again from BRRRRRM Australia, and we're coming to you today with a 2018 Peugeot 308 GTI. Now, Scott, the whole gist of our channel, I guess, is looking at fun and family-friendly cars.
Correct.
For, you know, like mums and dads like us used to have a fun car when they were younger.
Yes.
Maybe had to get rid of it because you had the kids and ended up in a, you know, like an SUV or a wagon or something like that. But now you want to get back into a fun and family-friendly car, but it still has to have some practicality.
Correct.
So I thought I'd bring down today this Peugeot 308 GTI. Now, the 308 GTI is Peugeot's, it's sort of a small hatchback, but the GTI side of it is the fun side of it. Now, this one here, hard to believe, 1.6 4-cylinder turbo, right?
Yeah, it's a fairly small capacity engine, you'd think.
Yeah, most cars like at least 2 litre, but it pumps out 200 kilowatts at 6,000 RPM. Get this, 330 Newton meters at 1900 to 5500 RPM. Now, you might think not huge numbers, but the Peugeot guys have probably done the traditional French hot hatch formula. This car's really light. This car here only weighs 1,205 kilos.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, so you've got
that's
really
where the numbers and
ratio
absolutely.
Yep.
And that's really interesting because that's different to what we're seeing with everything else, right? Building power in a car is cheap. Taking the weight out and getting a really light car,
that's a hard thing to do.
Is really more expensive, more difficult. Yeah, exactly. With all the safety tech, all that stuff, it's normally going the other way. They're getting heavier.
Yeah. So it gets better, I suppose. The Peugeot guys have actually, dipped into the well of Peugeot Sport, their sport division, and they've actually thrown a few really good bits and pieces into this car. Like, for example, it's got a mechanical LSD at the front, to put the power down, which is really cool. Big brakes, 380 millimeter 4-piston brakes at the front. It runs 19-inch alloys with Michelin Pilot Super Sport tyres, 235 35 ZR19s on it. Manual only, 6-speed manual. I know, how many Golf GTIs do you see out there and everything?
Yes,
Stacks of them.
heaps, yep.
And Volkswagen's actually gone the opposite way. The latest GTI, I think, to come to Australia, you can only get it in auto now, like the DSG, where this is like old school manual, which is really cool. So, all of this, $45,990 list price. This particular one has a fairly big option on it, which is a $3,000 paint job.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks a bit like it belonged to the National Australia Bank, didn't it? It's got red on the front, black on the back, but the two-tone actually is sort of halfway on the car, not sort of, like horizontally. It's
Yep.
So quite different.
And you're explaining to me that it's painted in one base colour, and then hand paint the second half of it to get that contrasting colour is hand painted.
That's right. The car's taken off the line and then sort of hand painted at the back to get that second colour.
Yep.
Now, I've got to say it's probably not my cup of tea, but if you want a car that's going to stand out, it definitely stands out, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, it's something you're not really. I haven't seen any other cars with that sort of option, so that's really gives it a bit of uniqueness and individuality. Yeah.
That's right. So, mate, you've had a drive of this thing. Noticed you've chucked it into sport mode as well.
GTI, come on. Got to go straight into sports mode.
What do you think? Give us your impressions. What do you think?
Wow. Well, first external impressions when you walk up to the thing with the customised paint job and the beautiful twin exhaust at the back and everything. It's got so many great styling cues. I love it. Yeah, really impressed by it. Then you open the door and have a look inside, and it doesn't disappoint, right? These seats just look fantastic. And the styling inside the car is very different. So someone that doesn't want the same run-of-the-mill stuff that they're getting from a lot of other cars, similar sorts of cars, this has really clean styling. And I think we've already disagreed a little bit about whether we like it or not. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, look, all right. That's probably the great thing about us driving cars, because we have different opinions. I thought it might be just a little bland to people. I mean, look, my wife actually is in your camp. Like, she drove this yesterday.
Yeah, I think in this case you're wrong. I think it is really good.
Okay.
But it's all right. You're allowed to be wrong sometimes.
Yeah, rightio. Okay. But, mate, I mean, look, it's functional, but I just thought, you know, it's just a sea of grey. Look, in all honesty, like this cockpit setup that Peugeots do, the iCockpit thing, I think it's one of those love it or hate it type things. I mean, I think sitting above your eye line and everything like that, and having the steering wheel so low to actually see it, that's different. Don't know, like, the jury's still out for me on that. I don't know, I'd have to get used to it.
I'm a clear yes. I really like it. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And you're asking about other impressions. I mean, when you get behind the wheel of this thing, this little sort of go-kart steering wheel, flat bottomed, just a couple of controls on it, just enough of what you need. I just love this steering wheel. It's fantastic.
I do too. And that coupled with the handling of this car, the steering is just so direct, isn't it? It's just like, it is a go-kart. It's just real nimble. Nimble's the word I'd use for this car, isn't it? So,
very nimble.
Yeah.
You mentioned the brakes earlier. The brakes on this thing just rock. They're just fantastic. I just tested them out before, and it's absolutely terrific. And you know, they're the sort of things that we're looking at in terms of the family side of things as well, right? We want safe cars, things that are really going to stop. This thing does it in spades.
Yeah, that's right. I think if you mention safety too, I mean, it comes with a good suite of safety things, but there are a couple of little omissions that I think, you know, like cars today are starting to get a standard. Like this car, for example, it's got, you know, the ABS, it's got the, you know, lane keep assist, it's got the blind spot monitoring and all that, but AEB, autonomous emergency braking,
yes,
unfortunately that's not an option on this car.
And that's one for me now, talking about family friendly and all the distractions that happen in a car with kids and other things happening. I would be looking for a car every time with AEB now.
Yeah, that's right. But then again, like, it's got a very, very good reversing camera system here. It actually not only looks backwards, but you can get a top view and everything like that. It even comes with auto parking too. I didn't realise that. I was going through the menus on the big touchscreen here, and found that there. So, which is pretty good. Visibility though, what do you think about the visibility at the back? I know it's got some pretty chunky C-pillars in there. Are you okay with it?
Didn't have a problem at all, actually. No.
Okay.
For my driving style, I didn't notice. I think the front's terrific.
Yeah, front's fine.
Side, no, I think it's fine. I think any hatch is always it's a little bit different, but no, I didn't find it a problem.
I like it too. Like, it's got a driving position that you can actually sit pretty low. I like sitting low in the car, like zero gravity wise and all that, and it's pretty good that way. And yeah, I agree with you. The seats are great, but the best part about this car, and I'll forgive it. It doesn't have heated seats. I'll forgive it that, but massage seats, front driver and passenger, have massage function in the seats.
I've got them on now.
I'd buy
fantastic.
Purely for that.
We both said we'd basically have them on the whole time, wouldn't we? Like, that function would be worn out within a few months.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah. So I think you talked about the price, $45K, not cheap, but it does come with a lot of sort of great options when you get into the car, right? Like, I mean, I think with their massage seats and just the quality of the seats, you're getting a fair bit for that price. Yeah,
I think, like, if you're going family friendly, there's the Practicality. It's got a fairly big boot.
Yeah, I was impressed by the boot.
There's a bit of a lip, but it's deep and it goes fairly long. The seats are a 60-40 split as well, which is good. What did you think about sitting in the back? Is it enough room for you?
No. So 6 foot. I had the seat in my driving position, so it is a fair way back, admittedly. I couldn't really get my knees in straight behind the seat. I had to sort of spread the legs to the side, so it wasn't particularly comfortable. Okay. What is surprising though is the headroom. There's just heaps of it. So headroom's great, but legroom a little bit in the back. If you've got someone taller in the back, there's not so good.
Yep. Okay. All right, but for kids, I suppose kids
would be fine. Yeah.
Just on that though, that doesn't come with vents in the back, which maybe on a long trip might be something that gets the kids a bit upset. I don't know, but yeah.
Yep. And we talked a bit about some of the practicalities inside. There isn't a lot of storage space. It is a smaller car, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think we've got one drink holder here.
Yeah, the glove box is quite small, so you've got to put things like your books on the side, things like that. So,
yeah, so it's a little bit limited.
Yeah. Backup, I suppose. 5-year unlimited K warranty now for Peugeots in Australia, which is really
Big
good.
tick. Yep.
Cap price servicing, it does come with that. There are 12-month to 15,000 K intervals to get the servicing done. But I did have a look on the Peugeot website. It's probably not the most cheapest car to service though in terms of cap price servicing. So maybe that's just something to be aware of.
Okay.
So I guess in summary, I do like this car. It took me a little while to get used to it this week because there are little idiosyncrasies that you sort of got to get used to. But I would love one of these just in a very sort of plain colour because it'd be a great sleeper.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean the styling, like you say, like it's French, I suppose. It's got a bit of style about it and everything, but it's not shouting out unless it's got the huge paint job. But if it had a plain sort of paint job, I reckon you've got a really good sleeper here. There's family friendliness to it, so yeah.
So my view, I think you echo my views fairly closely. So this is absolutely fun. And it feels so special inside, right? It's quite a different styling than anything else, so it does feel a bit of like an individual choice.
Yeah.
And some of the features, like those big brakes we talked about and everything, are very impressive.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really fun car to drive.
It feels solid. Like they have, put some mechanical sort of oomph behind it, which is really good. And it's hard to believe. Like it's so light. It's a 1.6 turbo, and I think, like you said, if you want something different,
Yep.
that you don't want to join the Golf GTI club or something like that. You want something a little bit different, a little bit that's not the same as everybody else. Have a look at one of these. It's pretty good.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, just want to put a big thank you to our friends at Peugeot Australia for the loan of the 308 GTI this week. It's been a fun car. So, and I guess we'll see everybody next time. And if we don't talk to you, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.